Hey everybody, I'm Tracy Beavers, and around here we talk all things organic visibility, list growth, lead generation, and client attraction without paid ads. And one of the biggest things I see entrepreneurs struggling with right now is this: they are invisible. They are not converting. I'm sorry, they are visible, but they're not converting. This means that people are seeing them, they're following them, they're engaging with them, maybe even joining the email list, but not enough of that attention is becoming conversations, clients, and revenue. So I knew this was a conversation that we needed to have because content alone is not the whole answer. Human connection is the part many people are missing. And today's guest is the perfect person to unpack all of that with us. I want to introduce my good friend and fellow business coach, Sara Torpey. She is the creator of the cutest named program ever. It's called Selling for Weirdos. And she helps entrepreneurs make sales, help navigate networking, navigate trust building, and making business growth just feel simple, more natural, and a whole lot more human. Amen to that. And she talks a lot about removing the pressure and complication from business while still helping people create real revenue. And I think that's a message that you guys need to hear right now. So Sara, welcome. I am so glad you're here.
I'm so happy to see you. You are one of my very, very favorite human beings. So I am
I
delighted.
feel the same way. So, for listeners and YouTube watchers that are meeting you for the first time, why don't you tell us a little bit a little bit more about what you do? And also,
Yep.
I have to know, where did the name Selling for Weirdos come from?
From my weirdo brain. It was funny. It was like the course I was building, and I was like, it's just like selling for weirdos like me. And I said to a friend, I probably can't call it that. And she said, why
Right.
not? And I was like, oh, hey now, I'm just gonna call it
Yes.
that, which feels like the most me choice ever. I'm not good at naming things, except sometimes I
Yeah.
am. Um, and that is an exercise in self-trust, if there ever was
Right.
one. I, so for me, what I do with people and business owners is really try to, not even try, what we actually
Hmm.
do is look at their business and themselves as a whole and strip out the extra,
Hmm.
keep the stuff that's working, focus on growth through connection and invitation, and really being visible out in the world, but in a way that says, I am an expert. I am here to help you. I am grounded in my
Hmm.
expertise. I am connected to human beings who can connect me to other human beings, and inviting people to step closer,
Hmm.
which I think, you can create all the content you want. You were talking about that at the
Yeah.
start. But if you're not actually inviting people in
Yeah.
and you're not telling them why they want to come, it's like the difference between, hey, I'm throwing this party, it might actually happen. I don't know if we're going to have snacks.
Right.
And hey, I'm having this amazing party. We're going to have so much fun and I make the best
Yeah.
guacamole.
Yeah. Yeah.
But which party are you going to?
Right. The one with the guacamole, of course.
The one with guacamole, of course, but also the one that you're like, well, it might not happen. And she said there may not be snacks. That seems weird. Like, who wants to go to that party?
Right. Nobody.
Nobody. And so if you're just like making stuff and
Yeah.
hoping, that's not a strategy.
Right.
That's a coping
Hmm.
mechanism.
Yes, yes, I agree. Okay, I always like to know, and I know my audience does too, why did you decide to get into this roller coaster of entrepreneurship? What possessed you in your right brain, right mind to do this?
Well, what's really funny is I think of myself as an accidental entrepreneur. I'm a former teacher and forever teacher. And then I was in the business world accidentally teaching sales. That's a whole story. And then my first business is in the product space while I was teaching college
Mhm.
kids. And I forget sometimes that I am the child of two entrepreneurs
Yeah.
eventually who both own their own businesses. That at some point I was like, oh, my parents did this. That's weird. But this is for me, ultimately, everybody's got like a higher order purpose. And mine is twofold. Mine is to be useful to as many people out in the universe as I can
Mm.
be, but also to do that in a way that has the flexibility that the life I have
Yeah,
needs.
yeah, I get it.
And that is, if I get those two things, and I do, the roller coaster becomes worth
Yeah.
it. And also, I'm bad at following directions. So, and I don't mean like geographical
Right.
directions, I'm excellent at that. I am bad at when, the boss of the
Uh-huh.
boss says, like, paint this thing blue, and you're like, God, that's so
Yeah.
ugly. So, like, I've never actually been in a job that I didn't turn into something
Yeah.
else.
I love that. I know. I have the same
And
issue.
so,
It's like, don't tell me what to do because I will.
um,
And I heard you say this the other day because I was listening to your master class and it was so funny. I can't remember how you phrased it, but I was like, same. You said something like, the minute somebody tells me what to do, I immediately need to do the opposite thing.
yes, my inner 5-year-old has
Yeah,
thoughts.
exactly.
She's like, I say what
Right.
again?
Right. Right.
You told me I can't
Right.
what? And actually, what was funny is I was listening to, I don't know what I was listening to recently, and there was a woman that was saying, she was like, some people are motivated by
Hmm.
praise, and some people are motivated by tell me I
Yeah.
can't. She was like, I am a tell me I
Yes.
can't.
Yes.
She was like, because you can tell me I'm doing a great job and I'll just be like, whatever. But the minute you're like, well, you're not allowed to do that, I'm like, watch me.
Yes. Yes. Amen.
And I thought that was such an interesting distinction to
Uh-huh.
make because I'm definitely the second. Like, you can tell me it's great. I don't
Right.
care. But like, if you're like, you're not allowed to do that, I'm like, oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
let me go get my shoes.
Right. Hold my purse. Watch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right? Like, hold on, please.
So I always like to ask my guests also for a fun fact about you. What's something that very few people know?
Uh, Gosh, the first thing that comes to mind is I am the daughter of generations of cemeterians. I grew up at the cemetery.
Wow.
My dad ran cemeteries growing up. His dad ran cemeteries. We didn't live in the house in the cemetery, but my dad did growing
Wow.
up. And I grew up like the kid picking flowers behind the crematory. So if that explains some things, my first job was at the cemetery when I was 14. It was like cutting the obituaries out of the paper and putting them in the folders for the people that were going to come in and like do all the
Oh my
things.
gosh.
So I don't know. As I've grown up as a kid, I was like, well, I don't ever want this job. So that motivated me to go find other
Yeah.
jobs. But also, like, it is very much in the older I get, the more I realize as a kid, I was like, I'm not like my dad because he could literally talk paint off the walls. But as I get older, I'm like, oh, here I am talking to the
Yeah.
paint. Like,
Exactly.
yes.
Exactly. That is fascinating. All right, let's dive into the big problem that we're here to talk about today.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
work with, and I know you do too, with a lot of online entrepreneurs who are doing the visibility things. They're posting, they're networking, they're trying to grow their audiences and their lists, but they're still telling me, Tracy, I feel like people are seeing me, but not enough are converting. So Sarah, I want to know, in your opinion, what is usually missing there?
Directness.
Hmm.
And when I say that, I mean, so what I think happens, one of the things that happen, I don't think that's everything for
Okay.
everyone, but I think that's one of the big ones, is people get, when you're in content creation
Hmm.
mode, you get really tied to, and I have been there, and I like words so much. I don't know if you can tell
Uh-huh.
that.
I can tell.
I like words so
Yeah.
much. Where like you tell the story and you ask the questions and you do the value thing, and then you're like, and oh, by the way, I have this thing.
Hmm. Yep.
And you sidestep it, right? You walk around, it's like imagine a puddle in the middle of your
Hmm.
driveway that you walk around and then you dip your toe in and you're like, and I have this thing, it's very cute. But you never come out and say, I have this
Right.
thing. It's what you
Right.
need, right? You never lead with it. It's always a side swipe at the
Yeah.
end. Instead of saying, hey, here's what I do, here's why it
Hmm.
matters. Here's what it costs and why that's
Hmm.
relevant to you.
Yeah.
Here's what it means if you
Yeah.
don't. Right? Here's what it means if you make this change. Here's why it's hard and why I get
Hmm.
it. Right? It's like talk about the work, but be direct.
Yes.
We, especially women on the online space, are sort of conditioned away from
Yes.
directness. And I was actually doing a training today in my lab group. I run the Uncomplicating Business Lab, and we were talking about how I, over the years, more and more have begun to think of pricing as a measure of confidence.
Ah, interesting.
Interesting,
Yeah,
right?
very.
like that your ability to hold on to your pricing is really almost directly correlated to your ability to hold on to your confidence,
Hmm.
right? And the same with the directness of your messaging. So if you are connected to your expertise and your knowledge and your
Hmm.
value, you are going to be able to say, hey, this is what I have and this is why it matters. And this is what it costs. But if you are letting your brain run
Yeah.
you all over the place in circles, you're going to disconnect from your value. You're going to not be able to go at it directly. And then you're going to be like, I don't know how much does this cost. And then we're in, as I say to people all the time, it is really hard to sell a maybe.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, I get what you're saying, and I agree. It's like we don't want to be direct. We don't and I often remind my students, people can't either opt in for your free thing if they don't know it exists, or they can't
Uh-huh.
buy your offer if they don't know that exists either. So we have to be direct, and we also have to stand in our confidence, just like you're saying.
Yes.
So let's take it a step further. I teach my clients and students that not only do we need to be direct, like you were just saying, but I feel like we need to be making connections. And you share publicly that something like 90% of your revenue comes from connecting. So I want you
Yep.
to share with my audience, what does that mean for you? Because I think people listening are putting all their faith into the content calendar, the algorithm, the
Mm.
posting, just like we're talking about, and throwing the content out there. But content for content's sake is a waste of time. So tell us what you mean by connecting, and how does that work, and how does that translate into that revenue for you?
So I'm a service business owner, right? You are a service business owner. One of the things that I learned early on was that my best business strategy, I have a dear friend that refers to this as my four-word business
Uh-huh.
strategy, and it's to more people, like actual human beings. So for me, connection means having actual conversations with actual
Yeah.
human beings. I had a call earlier today with an actual human being who was not known to me. A friend of mine said, this guy that I subscribe to his email list, I love the way he talks about business. I love the way you talk about business. I think you should two should be friends.
Yeah.
So I sent him a LinkedIn request and I said, Melissa thinks we should be friends. Can we talk one on
Yeah.
one? He thought that was delightful, right? But here's the thing. 6 years into this, I know a ton of
Hmm.
people. So he said to me today, he's like, I'm really trying to figure out how to connect with X, Y, and Z people. And I was like, oh, I know three of
Yeah.
those. Let me make those introductions. But for me, when I say connecting, I mean actually meeting people.
Hmm.
And I think it's not just going to the networking meeting and being present
Right.
because it is a different thing. Networking and connection can happen at
Yes.
networking, but networking in and of itself is not connection.
Correct. Yes.
And so it is incumbent on you, the person, to say, hi, Tracy, I would love to actually know
Hmm.
you. Can we have an actual
Yeah.
conversation?
That human
And
connection.
I
Yeah.
send messages like that all the time where I say, hey, we're both in this world. I would love to actually know you as a human being. Would you be okay with
Yeah.
that? Can we find some time? And people, what is fascinating to me is how little people must do this
Well,
because people are like, huh,
yeah. Well, they're sending the DMs, but they're not being human about it. They're being weird about it. They're being just
yes,
like they don't know how to use words anymore. You know what I mean? And they're saying things that they would never say to somebody if they were standing in front of them. But what you just said is something that you would say to me if we met in a coffee shop.
correct. Well, and I also think that sometimes when we get a DM, we know that they might use the words right, but they are doing it for their
Yeah.
purpose. For me, I know that meeting the people takes care of the business part. And so for me, I am just hella happy to meet the
Yeah.
people. I think the people are
Hmm.
fascinating. So today, is that guy going to hire me? Absolutely
Yeah.
not. Because we run parallel businesses, but he's super interesting.
Yeah.
He and I know a bunch of shared people. I'm going to make him some introductions. He's doing some really interesting social justice farming things outside of his business.
Interesting.
Like, fascinating.
Yeah.
And so for me, I know we joked about it, he and I, at some point, I'm going to meet somebody who needs social justice
Yes,
farming.
it'll happen.
He was put in my path for a
Yeah,
reason, and I'm going to be like, oh, there's that person that needs to meet
yeah,
Mark,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And, and that is how this
yeah,
works. It's a virtuous cycle, but you have to participate in it. You have to
for
engage.
sure.
You cannot wait for engagement to come to you.
No, I say that a lot. My audience hears me say, we have to go first. We have to send the email. We have to send the DM. We have to go shake the hand.
Yep.
We have to walk into the room. But one of the
Yep.
things I know that people are probably wondering at this point in the interview is this, because human connection is super important. But what does that
Yep.
actually look like in a practical week? Because I know for me, sometimes I feel like I do not have time to have 50 million coffee chats a week.
Yep.
So how do you manage that? How long are your coffee chats? How many do you have? Do you schedule a certain day for it?
Yep. I okay, so I my calendar is different every day, every week, every moment. I don't pick a
Hmm.
day because that's not how my life
Hmm.
works. I have boundaries on when it's allowed. So, like, I don't coffee chat with people before noon on Mondays or afternoon on
Hmm.
Fridays. Um, but then in between there, they fit where they fit. Mine are 45
Wow.
minutes
Yeah.
because I really want to know people.
Hmm.
And I do not want to get really into it and then have it be cut short. It's okay if it ends before that. And sometimes they do.
Hmm.
If you meet somebody and it's just like
Yeah.
weird, we all go about our own way and that
Right.
happens. I don't feel weird about that at
Hmm.
all. Where it's like, okay, this was great. I think we've done what we need to do
Hmm.
here. Have a great rest of your
Yeah.
day. Like, I'm not going to be like, I don't need to sit through it if it's going to be like pulling
Yeah.
teeth. And sometimes you meet people and you're like, whew, okay. I aim for um, my goal is 125 new connections a
Oh,
year,
wow.
one on one.
Nice.
Now, do I hit that? No. But is that the goal? So it's really 8 to 10 a month.
Hmm.
But I will say, like, I probably, let's see, I keep track. So I was 9 in January, I was 2 in February, I was 8 in
Hmm.
March, I was 7 last month.
Yeah. Nice.
So, like, does it average out okay? And July, there will be none because my life is
Yeah.
busy. It comes and goes. So, for me, what'll happen is there's like some weeks I'll have two or three,
Hmm.
some weeks I'll have none. And I'm good with that variability. But I know if I am meeting new people,
Hmm.
it's because I'm doing outreach and I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah.
I don't, does that tell you
Yeah.
enough? I wish
For
it was
sure.
like this is the
Yeah.
formula, but for me, like less formula is more
Yeah.
formula.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we all have to make it work for us. I'm just always
Yeah.
curious how people do that for themselves and their business. Let's go back to the making more offers thing and
Mhm.
not being afraid to be direct and not being afraid to stand in our confidence with regard to our pricing. I would love for you to talk about where do the offers come in? What counts as an offer in the everyday rhythm of the online business? And how people think that it means just pitching constantly. Now, you and I know that's not true. So, in the
Yeah.
everyday rhythm of the online business, where does the offer come in and how do they do this without feeling like they're just constantly saying, buy my stuff?
Well, first, I would say I am not mad if you are constantly saying buy my stuff.
Nice.
I don't have a problem with it. I like, here's the thing. Do you think Coca-Cola feels bad for saying buy my
No,
stuff?
not a bit. Not 1 second.
Right? You're not saying, and there is difference between buy my stuff because I think it's going to help you and buy my stuff or else.
Hmm.
And so for me, if you're saying, hey, I have this resource for you and this is why I think it's
Hmm.
useful, if you want it, it's here. That's very different than if you don't buy this, you're going to miss out and you're going to fail without me.
Right.
So it is in the spirit in which it is offered, is part of it. So I don't, you can say it. Honestly, I teach a class that's called 3 offers a day.
Uh-huh.
Like, specifically that for a
Right.
reason.
And what does that look like?
And I think,
Break that down. Like what it, because immediately if I say 3 offers a day, I can hear my audience going, I have to talk about my paid offer 3 times a day. What it constitutes as an offer for you? What goes on that list?
Um, I will tell you that the rule of thumb is being overly generous with yourself. So if you're like, does this count? The answer is yes.
Okay.
The answer, there, like, do not be shitty to yourself about the rules. Sorry. Like that, if you're gonna make the rules, why be
Yeah.
mean? Number one. Number two, for me, it is anything free or paid that allows people to take one step closer in your
Okay.
world. Right? Maybe it's try this
Uh-huh.
masterclass. Maybe it's join my email list. Maybe it's pay for this
Yeah.
workshop. Maybe it's coach with me or join my
Right.
community. But it is not, it's any version of that.
Hmm.
And it is all about remembering that. For me, 3 offers a day was a function of remembering that if I, let's say I post 10
Hmm.
things, you, Tracy, are only going to see 3 of them.
Hmm. Yep.
So if I only post 3 things, you're seeing none of them.
Yeah.
So it is for me, I have to make 10 things for you to see
Hmm.
3. And if I'm not making 10, then I'm doing something, I am doing you a disservice because I'm not as visible as I could
Hmm.
be. And so more offers is just me saying more often, hey, I have this interesting thing. Hey, I have this interesting thing. Hey, I have this interesting thing. Here's this other interesting
Yeah.
thing. But it can be in the context of a story or
Hmm.
not. But like Coca-Cola doesn't care if you saw their commercial 7 times in a row.
Right. Exactly. Or every hour. I mean, a lot of people in my world know this about me. I have my TV on all day just so I can have some background noise, and it's on NBC. Sarah, do you know how many times the same commercial is run throughout the course of a day? If I hear one more commercial for some pharmaceutical drug, I'm going to scream. But it's the truth. Just like you're saying.
Yes.
They're making way more than 3 offers a day.
Well, and you know, there is a difference. So what I think happens is we, as business owners, worry that we are going to come off as sleazy or slimy or
Exactly.
salesy or
Yes.
whatever. And that is about intent,
Mhm.
not
Yeah.
implementation.
I think they're hiding behind their visibility because and avoiding that direct human connection. And so let's walk down
Yep.
that road for a second.
Yep. So, like, here's a good example. I was at a networking lunch last week, and somebody said to me, "Oh, tell me about what you do." And I was talking to her about it, and we were doing like the human connecting
Yeah.
things. And she said, "That sounds really interesting." And I said, "Oh, well, if it would be useful for you, I have this tool that I share with
Right.
people. Do you want me to send it to you?" And she was like, "Oh, actually, I do." Offer
Yeah.
in person
Nice.
to a human being.
Nice.
Who gets credit for that?
Yeah.
But like that is the thing. So what people in my world say to me all the time is they think like, "Oh, I have this thing that would be useful for
Yeah.
her." And then they get hung up in their brains like, "Should I say it? Should I not say it? Do I know what to say?" I did, she could have said
Yeah.
no. I wouldn't have lied. I wouldn't have turned into a puddle person.
No.
It would have been fine.
Yeah. And you made it really easy. And that's one of the things that I resonate with you on is you want business to be simple and easy like I do. And I think
Yeah.
our business owners are making this so much harder than it has to be because for some reason, like you're saying, and also, okay, so I've got 2 things going on in my head. One is they're making it harder than it needs to be because they think it has to sound different than a human being for some reason because they're supposed to be selling and they put on this sales hat and they start acting not like themselves. But you've just
Well, I refer to that as the business bot.
yes, in the marketing person that's in a robot in a blazer
Yeah.
kind of a deal. But you've just demonstrated how human it can be. And also, I think in the online space, tell me how your thoughts on this. What I find for my students and clients is, especially if they're going to send a DM to someone, they all of a
Mhm.
sudden think the conversation needs to be different. That
Mm.
that somehow the and I'm like, no, the conversation is the same whether you and I are in a DM conversation or standing in front of each other. It's just the location of the conversation that has changed that's confusing your brain. Do you, I mean,
Well, and I agree. It's funny. I have clients that will send me like little snippets of things they're getting ready to send to
uh-huh,
people. Often I reply, "Would you say this in the grocery
right.
store?" And they'll be like, "Oh, damn." Uh, because it's like what happens is somebody sends a DM and it's like, "Dear Marion, lovely to have seen you today. I hope that your world is wealthy and
Uh-huh.
healthy. And I would like to invite you to my masterclass that features 17 hertz. And we will be having penguins. And there will be 6 other offers attached to this.
Oh.
Please reply to the following 4 questions." And you're like, what on earth is this?
Oh my stars, I'm laughing because it is so true. It is so true.
It
It's
is.
like they've,
And you're like,
yeah,
okay.
they've turned into a lieutenant in the 1700s war going, "Dear reader," you know, just using all these weird words and flowery language and practically writing in calligraphy is what I was seeing when you were talking,
Yes.
you know, the calligraphy going.
Oh my God.
Yes. Okay. So what should we focus on first? I want to land the plane here. We've been talking about being more direct. We've been talking
Yep.
about having our pricing set and standing in our confidence with it. We've been talking about being human, about making sure people know what we have, making those offers, not
Yep.
hiding behind our visibility.
Yep.
So, for the entrepreneur listening who feels that visibility is working, but they're not profitable yet, out of the stuff that we've talked about today, what would you tell them to focus on first?
There are, for me, I think of them as 3 buckets,
Okay.
right?
Hmm.
You don't have to do everything in the bucket. You have to touch each bucket most days,
Yeah.
right? Bucket number 1 is groundedness. It's like, do I remember who I actually am and what I'm good
Right.
at? If you're not, you need to sit down and give yourself 10 minutes to come back,
Yeah.
right? Reconnect.
Hmm.
Bucket number 2 is connection. Am I meeting new people? Have I reached out to anybody
Yeah.
today? That can take all of about 15 seconds on
Yeah.
LinkedIn. Go find somebody you think is interesting and send them a note.
Right.
Like, you won't die, I promise. They'll be like, this is delightful. And you'll be like, look at me, I'm awesome. And off we'll
Yeah.
go. Like, being human. And then the third thing is go out into the platforms you like
Hmm.
and say something about something you
Yeah.
sell directly.
Yep.
Period. Make an
Love it.
invitation. Say, come closer into my world.
Hmm.
Done.
Yeah.
If you do, like, we're talking, if we just touch each of those 3 buckets every
Yeah.
day, maybe we're talking 35 minutes,
Yeah.
maybe, right?
Yeah. I like it.
And that's, can you do more? Sure.
Yeah.
Would you like a gold star? Great. You can have 4. But, like, if you are grounded in yourself, if you're connecting and you're inviting,
Hmm.
I think that is where we start to convert because you become a human to the people you are needing to be human with.
Yep. Yep. And all that human connection is what turns the organic visibility into revenue for sure. Ah,
Yes. Yes, it
absolutely.
is.
Okay, I have 2 just for fun questions. The first one
Okay.
is, if you could tell your younger self one thing about business, what would it be?
Stop thinking so hard
I like that. I like that. Okay, and then
because she thinks so hard. Oh my God.
and if you had to rebuild your business from scratch tomorrow, what is the first thing you would do, and what would you absolutely not do again?
I would go straight at talking to people and connecting,
Okay.
and I would likely not have a website for the first 3 years.
You know, because I'm stubborn, we've talked about this, you and I share this gene.
Same.
Um, you know, when I started this business, people were like, well, do you have a website? And I got so irritated with people saying, what's your website? What's your website? And I said to myself, I am going to see how long can I go making money and
Yep.
helping clients without a website. And it was 18
Yep.
months. It was
Yep.
18 months. And the only reason why I built a basic website at that point was because I wanted to get a little bit more PR. And to some people that didn't know me very well, that website was a piece of credibility they had to see or whatever. And so I was like, okay,
Yep.
fine, I'll build it. But yeah, for sure.
Well, but truly, like, it is, your colors don't matter. Eventually, you'll want to make it cohesive,
Right.
great. But, like, none of it, all of the things that you are busy making come second to people.
Yes, I agree. Because those things that you're making, I mean, unless you're making a paid offer, then we've got to make the connections because we have to have people to sell
If you
to. We have to have an audience.
correct. If you don't connect to the people, what are you
Yeah.
doing? You are serving people. And I understand people are like, well, I want, listen, I am a teacher. I want my ducks lined up in alphabetical order before I do
Hmm.
anything. Trust me, I feel
Yeah.
you. And also, you can't do it like that. It doesn't
Yeah.
work. I wish it
Yeah.
did. The ducks and I really do wish
I
it did.
know. I wish it did too. I wish we could. Gone
Oh,
are the days where you could make something, throw it out there, and everybody would snatch it up like it was potato chips. So we've
yep.
got to make those connections. Okay, I have loved this so much as always, Sarah. Where can everybody find you to connect with you online?
um, LinkedIn or Facebook or TikTok. I'm just plain old Sara Torpey. As I tell people at the end of my podcast and at the end of other people's
Mhm.
podcasts, I am an actual human
Yes.
being. So if you were to send me a LinkedIn request and say, "Hey Sarah, I saw you on Tracy's show and I would love to connect one on one," I would be delighted. And look at you doing your
Yeah.
homework. Like, if you have not met the amazing Tracy Beavers and you just follow her like a stalker instead of meeting her like a human, you could also reach out to Tracy and be like, "I followed you and I think you're great and I'd love to talk." Like, she would also be delighted.
Exactly.
No one would doubt.
Exactly. Yeah, you and I are not these untouchable business coaches that people can't actually hug and talk to and have a chat with. Yeah. And I love that about us. You know, I, the big people, the big names that don't really have time for any of that nonsense. And I don't think I ever want to get like that. And I
No, and I don't, it doesn't, it would never matter size to me. Like, it's always people
Yeah,
first.
yeah, for sure. You have a freebie for everybody. I've got it in the YouTube description and in the podcast show notes. It's a free masterclass. Do you want to tell everybody about it?
It is, it's about making business simple. It's really about trying to make your business simple and make your whole life easier. It is the framework that I teach all of my clients, and it's the framework we use in Uncomplicating Business Lab. And it's really about trying to strip out the noise. So if you feel like things are a little noisier than you'd like in your business and you're trying to be everything to everyone all the time, and I don't know anybody like
Yeah.
that, I've never done that. This is really about figuring out where you want to start untangling it
Hmm.
before it becomes like that ball of Christmas lights,
Yeah.
the one you threw
Yeah.
out.
And no matter how well you wrap them each year, I think they purposely tangle themselves up in the attic during the summer just to drive us crazy because we get them back out and I'm like, I rolled these up so nicely and now I can't get them to work, let alone get them untangled.
I put new Christmas lights on our back porch last
Uh-huh.
night because we've just been in this house, and I put them up last night, and it was literally in that cursing at Christmas lights last night in April,
So
so,
funny.
or May or whatever this is, and I was like,
I love it.
"Rawr."
I love it.
But they're up, and I love it. So there we
Yeah.
are. Tracy Beavers, you are my very favorite one,
Aw.
so I'm so delighted to be here with you.
Thank you so much for being here as well. All right, let me close this out. My friends, if you know your business needs more eyes on it, more leads coming in, more daily list growth without having to constantly feed an ads budget, this is exactly what I teach inside my world with Business Visibility Made Easy with my students and then with my elite one-to-one coaching clients. Here's what I want you guys to do now. If you're coming to me on YouTube, go to the description notes. Grab your spot in my free live masterclasses. I've got 4 different ones to choose from. They're coming up in about 5 days. tracybeavers.com/masterclass. The link's in the notes. I'm going to teach you 4 simple organic list and leads growth strategies. And I've got some cool bonuses that you're going to get when you show up live for me. And this masterclass is for you if you are done with trial and error and you're ready for repeatable, sustainable lead flow system that actually works for you without exhausting you. And you're launching or you're relaunching and you need the audience that's ready to buy, like Sarah and I were talking about. You have to have an audience and you've outgrown the freebies and some of the strategies that you've been trying. This is going to work without sacrificing your energy or your time. So go grab your spot and plan to join me. And if you're coming to me on the podcast, by the time you hear this, since we're a couple of months out in production, the doors to Business Visibility Made Easy will be closed, but you can get on the VIP waitlist by going to tracybeavers.biz/VIP waitlist. And if you have any questions about how to work with me, just DM me like Sarah and I are talking about. I'm a human being. DM me. Let's have a conversation. And if you have any questions about how to work with Sara, I want you to do the same thing with Sara. And it's Torpey, Torpey, so you can find her. Mm-hmm. But the biggest thing I want you to hear, I say this every single week, don't go it alone. Being an entrepreneur is freaking hard. Some days everybody wants to buy what you're selling, and other days you feel like nobody can even remember your name. And that is a very lonely feeling, my friend. You're not alone in that feeling. We all feel that way. So join a community of support. Come join my free Facebook group called Be a Confident Entrepreneur. You will get more support than you could ever imagine. I want you to have a great balance of the week and weekend, and I want you to remember that when one of us rises, we all rise. So that is why we have got to keep cheering each other on. Sara Torpey, thank you so much again for being here.
You're the bestest, and she's exactly right about the cheering people on. So go join all the things, because you're not actually alone, even though you're just at your desk.
Yes,
okay?
True.